It's time for Agriculture, presented by Turkana Farms in Germantown, New York, a small-scale producer of heritage breed livestock and a wide array of vegetables and berries on just over 39 acres. They also produce a full array of garden vegetables, many of them heirloom varieties raised naturally, as well as an assortment of berries, including raspberries, blackberries, gooseberries, black, red, and white currants, mulberries, and elderberries. And now, here's Mark Scherzer.
I'm pleased to announce that Turkana Farms has officially entered a new phase. Today we become the Turkana Farms Livestock Education and Protection Fund, or TFLEPF. Now that the legalities have been wrapped up, I can explain exactly how we evolved to our new structure and mission. As I mentioned last week, our back pastures have since January become home to a herd of beautiful red Devon cattle. They belong to Hover Farms, a nearby sixth-generation family farm. Why would I invite another farm's animals to graze here? Taxes. The New York State assigns to qualifying land an agricultural assessment value, dependent on soil type, which is adjusted every year. The land is taxed according to that value rather than its full market value. A so-called ag assessment makes farming more economically viable by saving a bundle on farm property tax bills. To qualify, I have to generate at least $10,000 a year in revenue from agricultural products. But if the property doesn't generate the full $10,000 on its own, it can still qualify for the assessment if I lease the land to another farmer whose home farm does generate enough. As I contemplated cutting back the scale of my operation to something I could manage myself, I was concerned that I might not continue to meet the revenue threshold, so I leased the pastures I would not be using to Hover Farms. But then, once the cattle arrived, I thought, why stop there? Why should I pay any property taxes? Thus was born TFLEPF, a non-profit organization that, like churches and universities, would be totally exempt from property tax. This farm has never made a profit anyway, I reminded myself. Why not recognize that fact and take full advantage of it? Now, a foundation needs a clear mission and charitable purpose, so I had to come up with one. Here, my year of pandemic farming came in handy. I've spent so much time on my own here for the past 12 months that a friend recently said, I worry about your being all alone there all the time. But, as I assured him, there was no need to worry. I've had the livestock for company and have spent many an hour contemplating and chatting with them. For example, hello, Sophie, I would say. Why do you squat and urinate whenever I enter the barn? She has never directly responded to that question, but eventually I came to understand what Sophie was trying to tell me, that she was not in the least embarrassed by what she had done. From this and many similar interactions over the year, it suddenly struck me that what farm critters really need is higher behavioral standards to more comfortably fit in a farm environment created by humans. Oddly, this is not a concern addressed by existing nonprofits that work with animals, such as animal sanctuaries. Yet I don't think that farm livestock will ever be fully respected if they do not develop a proper code of manners. It was clear that the mission of my nonprofit should be to promote in the livestock a sense of decorum and dignity. My first steps to carry out this mission were tentative. The rooster, I thought, should be more respectful of the hens. He should not just, as we say, jump them and hump them. Instead, I wanted him to take a more seductive approach. Through judicious use of grain treats, I've tried to teach him to display his tail feathers like a tom turkey does, so that it becomes the hen's choice and desire to copulate. We're not there yet, but we're working on it. With the pigs, I focused on culinary etiquette. You all know that expression, eat like a pig, to devour food voraciously rather than appreciate it with delicacy. To combat that, I stopped mixing up all sorts of food scraps in the pig's trough and started serving their food in courses. First, the leftover salad greens, followed by a main course of grain, followed by a dessert of melon rinds, apple cores, and the seedy glop from the center of the pumpkin. I encourage them to slow down and savor their food. They have slowed down, but I'm still not sure if it's only because I'm doling out the food more slowly. As to the sheep, it seemed to me that they would gain the greatest dignity if they were toilet trained, or at least if they urinated and defecated out of sight, northwest of the barn, instead of everywhere and anywhere in full public view. If I saw them start to pee or poop in the wrong place, I would gently push them to the right place until they got the picture. Here, I finally made real progress. They learned. And with that success, I knew my concept for a nonprofit foundation was solid. I went ahead with my farm accountant to create TFLEPF. I am now ready to forge new paths towards civilizing livestock behavior. I know there are significant challenges to achieving TFLEPF's goals. These animals are smart, but they can, like humans, be strongly resistant to reason and may indulge in magical thinking. You all remember QAnon, the cult whose members expected a messiah named Q to appear on January 6th to arrest leading Democrats and take over the government. Among the more stubborn sheep, I have perceived a parallel movement, P in public, which clearly anticipates a messiah named P will deliver them from the tyranny of human domination, so that they may once again simply, as they always have done, pee in public. As a Jew whose people have waited thousands of years for the Messiah to arrive, I will endeavor to teach them that messianic expectations are not always instantly fulfilled. Perhaps you suspect that TFLEPF is the fevered product of a mind that has spent too much time spinning on its own. Or maybe you think the mission is a fool's errand. But wouldn't that be appropriate for an organization launched on a day called April Fools?
Agriculture is underwritten by Turkana Farms, LLC, a small-scale producer of heritage-bred livestock and a wide array of vegetables and berries on just over 39 acres in Germantown, New York. More information, 518-537-3815.